Hey, Shalom, Shalom, Israel, give no praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashim, Yahushua, Ba'ashim, Chakadash, double honors to the elders of GMS who rule well. Salutations to Akim out there, pushing his word in truth and sincerity, risking your freedom and your life to do so. Akim, this is, I meant to do a video on this, when it first dropped, but this is as of March 1st, 2023, this article came out, and it said, did Zelensky say the U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters to war for Ukraine? And it says, Zelensky in early 2023 held a news conference on the first anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. So it's been a year since they've been fighting. Ukrainians been fighting a war against Russia to hold down the fort, which is spiritual, because this is gearing up for the ultimate prophecy, which is the World War III, the Third War, where all nations fight against each other. They pick sides and then they go to war. So we jump down and says, rating, what's true? Zelensky did say the U.S. will have to send their sons and their daughters exactly the same way we are sending our sons and our daughters. Now, if you keep, if you look into the war and what's took place, when Russia first invaded Ukraine didn't have enough standing soldiers. So what they do, they implemented a draft, and all men of Ukraine had to go and fight, either forced or be put to death. So, it was a draft, which, by the way, through the scriptures, we believe is going to happen here in Babylon the Great, because America doesn't have enough soldiers to use to fight a war. So they're going to have to implement a draft. But reading on, it says, however, he was talking about a hypothetical situation in which if Ukraine loses the war against Russia, that will lead to a broader conflict resulting in Americans being pulled into the fight, which is going to happen. They don't have enough artillery. They don't have enough ammunition. America still has to send these things to them that help them fight. So what is that going to lead to? Americans being pulled into the fight and having a fight, There's no getting around it, This is prophecy. So reading on, it says, on February 24, 2023, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky held a news conference in Kiev, marking 1 year since Russia invaded Ukraine. He answered questions from numerous journalists, and some of his answers went viral online, though often presented in a misleading manner and without context. On March 1st, 2023, Twitter user Hodgson shared a clip of Zelensky's answer during his news conference, writing, "Is this real?" Zelensky saying Americans will send their sons and daughters to war for Ukraine and potentially die? Oh, hell no. But it's true. Let's get that. That came out his mouth. And according to the prophecy, y'all will be sent, y'all will die. So it says, Zelensky said the U.S. send their sons and daughters exactly the same way we are sending our sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight because it's NATO that we're talking about. They will be dying, God forbid, because it's a horrible thing. Yeah, because a lot of the Ukrainians are getting slaughtered out there. But let's get the scriptures, man. This is Joel 3. And then you read early on. I'm not going to read the whole thing for time's sake, but if you read early on in the chapter, it tells you exactly why this is happening, all right? And the reason why this is happening is because all nations have, came together and took us down. I'll read a little bit. Joel 3:1. For behold, in those days and that time, meaning now, when I should bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem. See, our people don't understand that they still in captive. The fact that you have to pay taxes to another nation is captivity, is slavery. And not to mention that we physically served, our ancestors served slavery, and now, many years later, we're still suffering the impoverishment of not being paid reparations for it, you see? So I bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, meaning he's going to take us out of it. Verse 2, I will gather all nations and will bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shaphat, the Lord's judgment, and will plead with them there for my people Israel, my people and my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered amongst the nations and part of my land. This is exactly what happened. You scattered us. Now we're in every country you could think of. You'll find Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans there, because it was called the transatlantic slave trade, meaning it was a global, worldwide slave trade. And we served slavery in every country you can name of. So he scattered us among the heathen, scattered us through the slave trade amongst the nations and parted the Lord's land, right? So now you got Palestine, you got Jerusalem, you got a whole bunch of different lands divided within the land of Israel. You see, you part of his land. Verse 3, and they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold the girl for wine that they might drink. Right, so this is clearly telling you that. So because of this, the Lord is going to bring all nations, a world war, down to the valley of decision, valley of Yahweh Shaphat, Jehoshaphat, which is the Lord's decision. Yahweh is God's name. Yahweh Shaphat is Yahweh, God's judgment, Yahweh's judgment. And that's why these things are taking place close to the Middle East, you know. That's a hotbed. So we're going to jump down. You're going to jump down to verse 9. Joel 3 and 9. Proclaim ye this amongst the Gentiles, the heathens, the natural-born heathens, everybody outside the nation of Israel. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. So now those nations are getting drawn into Yahweh Shaphat, that area, which is going to be the hotbed of which this war, jumps off. And all the men of war is going to have to go, including American troops. And the thing about it, now is the fact that the U.S. Army is not discriminating. Women are getting drafted too. So all this feminism and women's rights and women's power, and they don't need no man. Get ready to go to get ready to put a helmet on and report to the barracks. The barracks. And with a gun, an M16, and a grenade launcher, and get ready to have to go to war with the Russians. Because this is prophecy because of what you've done to us. All right? Verse 10, beat your plowshares to swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. So plowshare is an instrument used for agriculture. And so when the scriptures say beat your plowshares to swords, so instead of, spiritually speaking, instead of, investing money in agriculture because, it's a time of peace and time of eating, you turn that budget into swords, meaning you'll use that money to allocate more weapons. Didn't America just, Janet Yellen, I believe the head secretary, head of finances, then she just promised $100 billion to go to Ukraine for weaponry. All right, so these nations, especially America, is sending weapons because we're in a time of war. And it says, in your pruning hooks into spears, like the weak say I'm strong. And Iran just got a nuclear missile technology, right? New weapons. So the weak nations are saying, I am strong. North Korea just tested a nuclear missile, and they might go to war with South Korea. You see, not might, it will happen. Verse 11, assemble yourself and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourself together round about. There the cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. That the heathen be waken and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, Yahweh Shabbat. For there I will sit to judge all the heathens round about. Put ye in a sickle, and for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near, in the valley of decision. And that's when the Lord is going to sit there and judge. And how the Lord's going to judge? A nuclear missile, baby. So, yes, it's true. You will get drafted. You will get drafted. They'll say Zelensky.
The U.S. will have to send their sons and daughters exactly the same way as we are sending their sons and daughters to war. And they will have to fight because it's NATO that we're talking about. And they will be dying, God forbid, because it's a horrible thing.
Yeah, so there you have it, man. It's going to happen very soon because we at the end. So with that, so